Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to our first episode in
2021.
2021. I'm Jessica Lyon.
Yeah, I'm Avi Flores, and here we go. Film Freaks review for Black Widow. With the whole pandemic stuff a little bit behind us, we've had some good films coming out. We've gone to see A Quiet Place 2, and then F9, which was like the big one. They made a bunch of money, and now Black Widow's out. So it looks like Hollywood and the film scene is kind of rolling now again. And we had to step in. Black Widow's been a long time coming. And I will say that this film was probably the film everybody wanted, just a little too late. Because it takes place right after Civil War, right before Infinity War. And if it would have came out then, it would have been perfect. Everything would feel right in step. Everything would feel important and relevant. But because it's years later, I love the movie. I really do. But because of that, to me, just kind of takes away from the film, and it's unfair that that's happened to it because it was such a good movie. But I mean, I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, that's right. I feel like I really enjoyed this film, and everything you touched on, I think is an excellent and valid point, because going in, I didn't have a lot of expectations other than I'm hoping it was going to be a good movie. And it exceeded the expectation. Actions, the storyline, the character development, everything that makes a movie great, it has.
Yeah.
But again, it is way too late. I felt like this movie, if it would have come out like 5 years ago,
Right.
it would have been relevant. I think it would have been purposeful, not necessarily a cash cow.
Yeah.
Because I walked in there in the theaters thinking, man, this movie, I'm hoping this movie is going to be good. Walked out thinking, man, this movie is great, but essentially very pointless.
Yeah.
And very, I mean, I guess not pointless, because it's not pointless. It wasn't as necessary. I felt like they could have taken this and turned it into a Disney Plus series to justify creating the character of Elena. Because I really felt like this is setting her character up and bringing the emotional investment of her character into the Marvel Universe.
Yes.
So with that in itself, I think it was great. It's just that, again, I didn't need a blockbuster movie to give me that. I think I could have enjoyed it a little more in the comfort at home with the Disney Plus direction. So
yeah, and I think that to me is like the biggest negative of the film, is that it came out late and that it just seemed like it was, the whole point of it was to just set up Elena, especially if you wait for the end credit scene, and kind of passing the torch from Natasha Kara's character now to Yelena, which is great. I just in this film alone, I'm already way more invested in Yelena's character than I ever was with Natasha's. And I think for most characters, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen such a group dynamic the way that they had it. Like, there was so many different elements, and I think because of the emotional part of it, with a movie that's basically based on human trafficking, I think it just brought such a real, because it's something that we literally deal with in real life. It's a real situation. And seeing that these girls get taken, and then seeing them from little, and that dynamic. And I wasn't sure in the beginning. I'm like, is this a real family? Like, is this really their parents? Like, what's going on here? And then you see that the progression of like who they really are. And I love that for Yelena, like at that scene when they're at the dinner table where she's like, this was never fake to me. Although she knows it's fake, like, for her, this was like her family, and that emotional scene to me was really hard. I was like, "Oh my God!" Grown man not trying to cry in a Marvel movie, but that to me is like they did such a good job with her character, and she sold it. I mean, she did such an amazing job portraying that character. So I will be excited to see her coming back because of what she did in this film. Everything else, I mean, like the Taskmaster character was cool. The reveal that it was his daughter. Like, I think a lot of people were making a big stink about that, but I'm like,
it kind of fits the character, fits the story.
Yeah,
it
kind of went with
how messed up that guy is.
Exactly.
Right? Just horrible.
Yes, and that they kind of freed her at the end. We don't know what's coming next. You know, like I don't think they're gonna really show them maybe on this adventure of saving the Black Widows. But it's cool to know that that was kind of like their mission from then, is like to save all these other women. And then we're actually get Yelena in the future again. So
right. And I think too, like what I really love about the film was how it actually went dark.
Mm-hmm.
Like Marvel has been very campy, very for the most part. For the exception of maybe the second Thor film,
mm-hmm.
everything else have been relatively campy. And we get to this movie where, again, like it is talking about some really raw,
Mm-hmm.
Realistic situation, and then they turned it into an emotional story where for the very first time, I got invested into Natasha's character.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I knew, like comic book wise, I knew I know that she went through this thing, but to see it through,
mm-hmm.
to see the rawness, to see the pain and the hurt, it caused me to invest even more.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, it was too late. Right?
Exactly.
Because we already have Infinity War, and this movie again is in terms of the timeline,
mm-hmm.
it's almost irrelevant,
right?
Because
we're so far past
this. Right.
Yeah.
And so, like for me. That's what really drew me in.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like, that we talk about, at least in our circles, we've talked about how DC has always been the darker tone versus the Marvel universe. And sometimes you cannot go without comparing them, right?
Mm-hmm.
We tend to compare them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they're very beloved characters, superhero genre,
mm-hmm.
and that's really the two main stories, right? And so I really felt like they kept true to the Marvel look, the feel, the aesthetics, and everything that encompasses Marvel. But then they added this darker tone, mm-hmm. and still made it fun, still made it very emotional and very dark at the same time. So kudos to the team and the writers, because this is honestly up to Marvel, or I'm sorry, Civil War. Civil War was my favorite. No, I'm sorry, not Civil War. Winter Soldier was my favorite Marvel movie, and I'm thinking now that this might be taking that mantle, because it was just that good.
I agree. It's something different that we've gotten on everything that you were talking about, and it was awesome to see. I just wish it, like I said before, would have came out more into like the timeline, because then I think this movie would be even more celebrated. But it is what it is. I'm glad the characters that we got. I love seeing the Red Guardian. I know I've been reading stuff online saying that they want like a solo film for him, which I don't think will happen. I mean, he'll probably maybe appear in some future Marvel films. I know for sure we're gonna get Yelena. We might get Taskmaster. Especially with them bringing Abomination back into the Shang-Chi franchise. Like, and any villain is never really fully off the table. Yeah, off the table. So, we might see some of these characters in the future, which I am really excited about because of what they did in this film. One of my favorite scenes, it was really small, was like when they were driving and she was talking about her vest. And then Natasha was like, "Yeah, I like your vest." And then just to see Yelena's like, "Yes,"
Right. It really, I love how she plays more of the younger, lighthearted, almost childlike character, where she's discovering new things, because from a very young age she was manipulated and manipulated chemically and conditioned psychologically to become a Black Widow.
Right.
And so for her to have her freedom to be able to express how she wants to express, it's almost like seeing a child.
Yeah, exactly.
It very reminiscent to the first film of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But that's why I felt like a lot of people just fell in love with Wonder Woman's character, because it was like discovering the world for the first time. Everything was new and extraordinary, but yet she was just an awesome warrior. So I felt like they took some of those elements and brought it over here.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like without going into the Wonder Woman 2 film, they kind of forgot that formula. And so that's why Wonder Woman 2 didn't work. Wonder Woman 84 didn't work, but Black Widow just, man, it destroyed, to me, it destroyed that genre like entirely. This is like,
this is like how you make such a good film, and it just so happens to be a superhero film, so it was really good. Now, at the end with I think her name was Valentina or something like that. Seeing Yelena, we know we're gonna get her in the future, and for those who saw the Captain America Winter Soldier Disney Plus, you see her in that as well, talking to the U.S. agent. So there's definitely something going on that Marvel has going on with this lady and recruiting these people. I don't really know much about her, or a lot of people are talking about this Dark Avengers. I don't know much about that either. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this and how they're going to use these characters, because that's all new to me moving forward. So I'm not sure if you have any speculations or what you think as well.
I don't. To be very honest, I know very little of this character. I just know of the name, but that's just the extension of my knowledge.
Right.
So like my speculations is just purely from the films so far and the Disney Plus shows. I'm thinking very similar around those lines of like maybe like a Dark Avengers or like an anti-Avengers, or essentially she's the new Hydra. Or it may not be called Hydra, it's called something else, and she's working within the US trying to destroy it. So
so I mean we're both really like the film. We love the film. It was great. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Let us know what you think is going to happen moving forward. But yeah, thanks for checking out our video, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
All right, guys, thanks for watching our episode.
Yeah, if you liked our video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up.
And if you didn't, you can double click on the thumbs down. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe, comment, share, and like.
Right on. And check us out on our other social media outlets at Instagram and Twitter. And please tweet us at FF Media News.
Or you can engage with us through our email at ffmedianews@gmail.com.
All right. Thanks, guys.